You ever have that moment where you know something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on it yet? Yeah, that was me 2 months ago. I'm 34, been married to my wife, let's call her Lena, for 6 years. We met at a New Year's party, fell fast, married even faster. I won't lie, I thought we had a good thing. Maybe not perfect, but solid. Or so I thought. I work in logistics, long shifts, unpredictable hours, but it pays the bills. She's a high school biology teacher. She loves it. Or, at least, she used to love it. Somewhere between March and May, she started acting different. Not Hollywood movie different. Subtle stuff. Barely noticeable. Like the way she'd always go to shower the second she got home, before even saying hi. Or how she stopped talking about her day, her students, her goofy coworkers. And the worst one, the way she looked at me. That soft look she always had. Gone. Replaced by this blank, polite stare. Like she was just waiting for something to happen. I brought it up once, just once. She laughed it off. You're being dramatic, she said. You watch too many crime podcasts. I dropped it. Felt stupid for even saying anything. But it didn't sit right. Then, one Saturday morning, I saw something that made my stomach twist. She was doing the laundry, and her phone lit up. I wasn't snooping, I swear. It was just on top of the pile. A message popped up. You're incredible. Can't stop thinking about last night face-blowing a kiss. No name. Just a number. Unsaved. Unfamiliar. She didn't notice I saw. I played it cool. Made coffee. Acted normal. But inside, my head was spinning. Last night. What happened last night? She said she was grading papers at her friend's place. I remember. She even brought back cupcakes from her friend's mom. That message wasn't from a friend. And definitely not from her friend's mom. I didn't say anything. Not yet. I decided right then I'd play the long game. Watch. Wait. Collect. Because here's the thing. I didn't just want to accuse her. I wanted to know. I wanted the truth straight from the source. Who he was. How long it had been going on. I needed to see it with my own eyes before I blew everything up. And it didn't take long. Within days, the clues started falling into place. A new perfume I'd never seen before. A fresh razor in her car. Receipts from cafes we'd never been to together. She even started leaving her phone in airplane mode while grading. But the wildest part? Who it turned out to be. Let's just say, I knew him. Not personally, but I'd seen his face before. Around town. At a school event. That smug, too smooth smile. And the irony? He teaches chemistry. Yeah, I'll get to that. But trust me, what came next? You're not ready for it. A week after I saw the message, I started noticing the smell. Not perfume. Cologne. Cheap stuff too. That synthetic, I'm trying too hard type. Lena doesn't wear cologne, obviously, and I don't either. So where was it coming from? First time I caught a whiff was on her scarf. It was subtle, but I knew it wasn't mine. Second time, it was on one of her hoodies, the gray one she always wore when she went for walks alone to clear her head. By the third time, I stopped pretending it was nothing. She came home late one evening, said she was stuck helping a student prep for finals. That one pissed me off more than usual because we had dinner plans with my sister and her fiancé. She didn't even bother to cancel until 10 minutes after she was supposed to be there. Texted me. I completely lost track of time, babe. So sorry. Rain check? I said it was fine. Lied through my teeth. But while she was in the shower, I went through her purse. Now before anyone calls me a creep, let me just say this. I didn't want to go looking. I didn't want to need to. But I had to. Inside her purse. A hotel room key card, no hotel branding. A receipt from some fancy Italian place on the edge of town, one we'd never gone to. A tube of lipstick I didn't recognize. And gum. She never chewed gum. Hated it, actually. This woman was getting sloppy. I took pictures of everything. Put it all back exactly where I found it. That night, she climbed into bed with wet hair and cuddled up next to me like nothing was wrong. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I followed her. Told her I had to go in early for a meeting. I didn't. Instead, I waited until she left for school and gave her a 10-minute head start before I hit the road. She didn't go to school. She drove 15 minutes out of town to some upscale neighborhood, way out of the school district. Parked 2 blocks down from a row of townhouses. Sat in the car for maybe 5 minutes, like she was waiting for something. Then he came out. Tall guy. Brown jacket. Coffee in one hand. Walked up to her car like it was nothing. Kissed her through the window. Kissed her. Right there in broad daylight like they were some casual couple. I didn't get out of the car. I didn't scream. I didn't chase. I just sat there. staring, taking it all in. She didn't see me. Neither did he. I let them drive off together. Back to his place? A hotel? God knows where. But now I knew. She wasn't grading papers. She wasn't walking alone. She wasn't stuck at school. She was cheating. No more doubts. No more maybes. And now that I'd seen him up close, it all clicked. He looked familiar. Very familiar. That smug grin, the stupid jawline, the stupid tan. I'd seen him before. The charity event. Last year. School fundraiser. He was on the stage giving some speech. Something about science outreach, student mentorship, blah blah. Staff called him Mr. J. Lena said he was harmless. A little flirty, but totally professional. Yeah, professional my ass. And still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted more. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I made a fake Facebook profile. I spent an hour setting up the fake Facebook. Random stock photo. Generic name. Empty friends list. Just enough to look real, but forgettable. Then I found him. Jonathan Miller, or as the students called him, Mr. J. High school chemistry teacher. Loves hiking. Self-proclaimed science geek. Public profile. Tons of teacher selfies. Too many hashtags. I scrolled through every photo like I was studying a murder suspect. And there she was, Lena. In the comments. In the likes. In the background of a few group pics. Smiling too much. Flirty little comments from her, too. One said, "A+ on the presentation, professor." Another? "Those poor students, must be hard focusing with a teacher that cute." That was from 2 months ago. I was out of town on a work trip that weekend. She told me she spent it organizing lab equipment. What a joke. I clicked deeper. Found his Instagram through a tagged post. It was private. Of course it was. But his bio said he was the head of science club and a mentor to future innovators. Gag. So I took a shot. From my burner account, I followed him. No message. Just a follow. 2 hours later, he approved it. Bingo. His stories were still up. First one was a pic of some overpriced pour-over coffee. Second one, a blurry shot from a couch, legs entangled with another pair, definitely a woman's. Just bare legs, no face. But I recognized that couch. We bought one exactly like it for Lena's classroom lounge. She told me it was for the students to chill and study. Yeah, looks like someone's studying real hard on it. I screen recorded everything. Next, I called in a favor. One of my buddies from college, Will, does HVAC repairs and gets called into schools from time to time. He's a nosy bastard and knows how to dig. I just said, "Hey, you ever heard of a guy named Jonathan Miller at Westview High?" There was a pause. Then he said, "Oh, that guy? Yeah, what about him? What's he like?" Total douchebag. Real cool teacher energy. You know the type. Students love him. Admins tolerate him. Thinks he's God's gift to education. Why? Just curious, I said. He's dating my wife. Dead silence. Then Will laughed, like he didn't believe me. I didn't correct him. But now I knew what I was dealing with. It wasn't just a fling. This wasn't some accidental one-night thing. She was involved with this guy, and I wasn't going to let her wiggle out of it with lies. I needed the final piece. Something solid. Something I could throw on the table that would shut her mouth before she even opened it. So I did the obvious. I bought a cheap GPS tracker online. The GPS tracker was stupid simple. Size of a key fob. Magnetized. Synced to my phone in less than 5 minutes. I stuck it under her back bumper the next morning while she was still inside brushing her hair. She left the house at 7:08 a.m. School starts at 8 o'clock. The drive should have taken her 12 minutes tops. She didn't go to school. At 7:27, she parked at a strip mall about 3 blocks away from Westview High. According to the tracker, she sat there for 15 minutes before heading to a nearby side street. Then she stayed parked. For nearly an hour. I sat in my office, watching that little red dot sit there. Motionless. Not moving. Just parked. Then, ping, she drove the rest of the way to school. Arrived just in time for the bell. This became a pattern. 2, 3 times a week. Every time she said she was going in early, she made a detour. Parked. Waited. Then left. I wanted to see for myself. So, Friday morning, I followed her. I stayed back a few cars, using the tracker to keep my distance. She pulled into the same alley she'd been frequenting. I parked half a block away and walked. Didn't even need to get close. Their cars were there. Side by side. Windows fogged. His silver Toyota. Her blue hatchback. No movement, but I didn't need it. The scene was self-explanatory. I took pictures. Snapped shots of the plates. Took a short video. Time-stamped everything. Still no confrontation. Not yet. Because that night, when she came home, she acted like it was any other Friday. Kissed me. Made us tacos. Asked if I wanted to watch a movie. It was like watching someone perform a role they've rehearsed for months. She was too calm. Too smiley. Laughing at my dumb jokes like she still loved me. I keep recalling Tuesday. You left a strong impression, then drove straight to her classroom like nothing happened. The next morning, I tested her. I asked, "How's Mr. J doing?" She paused. Only for half a second, but I caught it. Her eyes flicked down, then back up. What? Oh, you mean John? Yeah, he's good. Why? I shrugged. Just curious. You talk about him sometimes. She smiled. Yeah, he's one of the only decent people on staff. Chill guy? Bit of a nerd. But harmless. Harmless. That word again. I almost laughed. Later that night, while she was in the shower, I pulled her laptop from her bag. I figured she'd logged into her email and never signed out. Bingo. I found a school email thread between her and Jonathan M. Mostly boring. School stuff. Planning some science fair. Student scheduling. But at the bottom of one thread, after 3 standard messages, there it was. I still think about Tuesday. Your skin tastes like honey and coffee. Jesus Christ. These two were using school email to flirt. I took screenshots of everything. Sent it to myself. Every attachment, every thread, every cringeworthy metaphor he used to describe her lips. Then I shut the laptop and put it back. That was the moment I realized she wasn't just lying to me. She was risking her job for this guy. This was deeper than I thought. And dumber. So I started planning. Because if she wanted to gamble her career, our marriage, and her entire reputation for a chemistry teacher with zero self-awareness, I was going to blow it all up. But not with yelling. Not with tears. With receipts. With proof. With timing. She wasn't going to see it coming. Once I had the emails, the photos, the GPS pings, and the receipts, everything shifted from pain to cold focus. Shock had passed. Anger had settled in. The rest was logistics, and I am annoyingly good at logistics. I made copies. Lots of copies. Screenshots, PDFs, time-stamped videos. I printed them, labeled them, dated them. For physical folders, school, work, personal, and the one I labeled in red and underlined twice, final. I put the final binder in a box with a note I would never mail until I wanted maximum damage. The rest sat in a drawer where, if someone searched me, they'd never think to look. Then I built the pieces. This wasn't about grand revenge, not yet. It was about collapsing the story she'd been living. I wanted the truth to be undeniable, unavoidable. Something that would leave no room for the excuse she'd used a dozen times. It's not what you think. Step 1. Corroboration. I sent anonymous emails to 2 of her coworkers. Not nasty, just hints. Heard something odd. Are you aware of any staff relationships? HR should know. Nobody replied, but the emails landed. Small cracks. Step 2. Witnesses. I called Will, my nosy HVAC friend, and asked if he could accidentally be called into the school for a quick job. He laughed, but agreed, because God bless him, he hates cheaters even more than he hates faulty furnaces. I told him to be casual, ask about the science classroom layout, mention seeing Mr. J's car, and maybe, if he could, mention a rumor he'd heard about after-school tutoring sessions at odd hours. He promised to wing it tactfully. Step 3. Moral leverage. I wrote a letter, anonymous, to the principal. Short. Clinical. Concerns about staff conduct affecting student welfare. Please review email traffic between J. Miller and L. Carter. No threats. No vulgarities. Just facts and links to the public posts and attached screenshots. I didn't click send right away. I wanted to wait, watch the ripples. Step 4. Control. I changed passwords. Mine, our shared accounts, the streaming services. Subtle things, so when she tried to cover tracks or access shared devices, she'd get stopped by gates she hadn't expected. I also moved a chunk of money into a new account in my name alone. Not to hide it forever, just to ensure I could walk if I needed to. Practical and boring. Effective. Throughout this, she kept pretending everything was normal. She would come home humming, make tea, talk about a syndicate grant for the science department, and then ask if I wanted to rewatch some old sitcom. She smelled like cologne sometimes now. She pressed close in bed and whispered that she loved me. I let her. I fed her the center ring while I set the stage around her. Then yesterday, the first domino fell. Will texted, dropped by Westview. Cafeteria chatter. People talk. Jay asked about after-school tutoring. Seemed nervous. HR sent an automated reply to one of my anonymous tips. Short, neutral. We take reports seriously. Under review. And in my inbox, a calendar invite to a faculty meeting from Principal Hayes. Neat subject line. Staff meeting, mandatory. Date, Thursday. Time, 3:30 p.m. Topic, professional conduct. I stared at that invite for a long time. For the first time since this whole nightmare started, my stomach flipped with something that wasn't dread or fury. It was a small, sharp thrill. The net was tightening. Whatever happened Thursday would change everything. But there was one part of the plan I hadn't told anyone. One move that would force a reveal and, hopefully, make the truth land in the exact place I wanted it to. But it was risky. If it failed, everything I'd built could collapse back into smoke. So I did what any fool with a neat folder and a bruised heart would do next. I booked a seat in the back row of that meeting. Quiet. Invisible. Waiting. Thursday's coming. And when it starts, I'm bringing receipts. I parked across the street from the school and watched staff trickle in. Lena's car was already there. So was Mr. J's. I sat for 10 minutes, then walked in like I belonged. Wore a black button-up, slacks, and a visitor badge from an old open house. Clipboard in hand. The receptionist barely looked up when I nodded at her. The staff meeting was in the small auditorium. About 20 teachers scattered across the rows. Principal Hayes up front, flipping papers. HR lady in beige beside him, sipping coffee like it was a legal deposition. I slid into the back corner and waited. At 3:37, Lena walked in. No guilt on her face. Sat near the front like nothing was wrong. Then came him, Mr. Jonathan Miller, chemistry superstar. Rolled up sleeves, confident strut. Sat 2 seats from her. No eye contact, but I caught her glancing at him twice when he wasn't looking. Thanks for coming, Hayes began. We've had some concerns raised about staff conduct and professional boundaries. Just want to be clear moving forward. People shifted in their seats. Then the HR woman stepped up. The district is reviewing all faculty emails and internal messages. If you've crossed any lines, now's the time to speak privately. Voluntary disclosures will be noted. She smiled like she enjoyed saying that. Mr. J stopped tapping his pen. Lena's posture changed, stiff, guarded. No one said a word. No confessions. Just awkward silence until they wrapped up 15 minutes later. I slipped out the side door unnoticed. At 6:11 p.m., Lena got home. Quiet. Tense. Didn't mention the meeting. Asked what I wanted for dinner. Kissed me like she was half thinking. At 1:04 a.m., her phone lit up. I saw the screen from across the bed. Jonathan, do you think they know? She stared at it for a long time. Didn't answer. Just turned the screen face down and rolled away. I closed my eyes and smiled. Let her wonder. Because now she was the one keeping secrets in the dark. 3 days passed. No fallout. No emails. No big dramatic explosions. Just tension. Lena acted normal, but in that overly careful way. She asked me more questions than usual. If I needed anything. If I was okay. If I'd be home late again. I kept my answers vague. She was nervous. I could tell. Not because of me. She still thought I didn't know. But she was scared someone at work did. On Monday night, I tested her. I asked casually. So, anything interesting happened at that meeting last week? Her fork froze midair. What do you mean? The staff meeting. Someone mentioned it in passing. Sounded serious. She recovered quickly. Oh, that. No, just admin crap. Boring. Liar. The next morning, she left early for work. 15 minutes later, I checked the tracker. She didn't go to school. She parked 2 blocks away from Jonathan's place. Again. This time I followed. Parked down the street. Waited. She stayed for 32 minutes. When she drove off, I looped around and parked where she had been. From here, I could see into his windows. 2nd floor. A light still on. Curtain half drawn. I waited. A silhouette passed by. Male. Alone. She was already gone, but I'd seen enough. That night, she was quiet. Sat on the couch with a glass of wine, phone in hand, barely watching TV. At 10:42 p.m., she said, "We need to talk." Here it comes. I muted the TV. Okay. She hesitated. I feel like you've been distant. For a while now. I nodded. Yeah. And I know I haven't exactly been myself either. Work's been a lot. Is this about the meeting? Her eyes shot to mine. A full second of panic before she covered it. What? The one they held last week. Professional boundaries. HR. She blinked. Why would that be about me? I shrugged. I don't know. Why would it? Silence. She opened her mouth, closed it, swallowed hard. Then finally, there's something I need to tell you. I didn't say a word, just stared at her. And she cracked. I've been seeing someone. It started a few months ago. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was stupid. A mistake. Who? I asked. Calm. She paused. It doesn't matter. Yes, it does. She shook her head. You don't know him. I let out a small laugh. Sure about that. Her mouth tightened. Eyes dropped. She knew then, I knew. But she still wouldn't say his name. I didn't push it. Not yet. Let her squirm in the silence. Let her think I was just hurt, confused, disappointed. Because the truth? I was 5 steps ahead. And the real reveal? It wasn't going to be to me. After she confessed, Lena cried. Not dramatic sobbing, quiet, guilty tears. The kind where you can tell it's less about regret and more about getting caught. I never wanted to hurt you, she said. I just nodded. Didn't offer comfort. Didn't ask questions. Let her stew in it. She said she ended it. Of course. Claimed it wasn't serious. Just a mistake that spiraled. I didn't argue. Didn't call her out. But I knew the truth. She wasn't done. She'd just gotten scared. I let 2 days pass. Then I made my move. I invited her parents over for dinner. She looked surprised when I asked. Really? She said. Yeah, I replied. Feels like we should reconnect. Been a while. She agreed, too quickly. Probably thought I wanted to save the marriage, patch things up. She even got dressed up a bit for the dinner. Did her makeup. Smiled more. If only she knew. Her parents arrived at 6:30. They brought wine. Chatted about the usual boring stuff. Weather, school budgets, my job. I played host. Calm. Polite. Lena tried to keep the conversation light, but she was clearly uneasy. Then halfway through dinner, her dad asked, So how's work been for you two? Heard there was some drama at school? I smiled. Perfect setup. Lena froze. I answered, Yeah, HR's been busy. Something about inappropriate relationships between staff. Her mother raised her brows. Really? That sounds serious. Lena quickly jumped in. It's nothing. Just a general policy meeting. I laughed softly. That's not what the email said. Everyone looked at me. I turned to her dad. Did you know that Lena's been having an affair with someone from work? Lena choked on her drink. Her mom gasped. What? Lena jumped in. That's not. I already told him. We're working through it. Her dad stared at her. With who? Silence. Then I stood, walked over to the drawer, and pulled out a folder. Opened it. Slid it across the table. Photos. Screenshots. Receipts. The works. Her parents stared in disbelief. That's Jonathan Miller, her mom whispered. He taught Michael's son last year. Lena looked like a corpse. Her dad's jaw clenched. A teacher? A coworker? Are you serious? She couldn't answer. Just shook her head, eyes wide. I sat back down, looked her straight in the eye, and said, You could have told the truth. Instead, you lied. Again. Her mom stood up. I need air. Her dad followed her out. Lena sat frozen, pale, silent. The mask was gone now. And for the first time, she realized this wasn't just between us anymore. It was public. After her parents left, Lena tried to talk. Why would you do that in front of them? She asked, voice shaking. I didn't answer. You're punishing me, she said. You're trying to humiliate me. I looked her dead in the eye. No, I'm just done covering for you. Then I went upstairs, locked the door, and let her sit with that. The next morning, I set phase 2 in motion. Remember that final binder? The one marked in red? Yeah, that one. I printed one more copy. Not for her. Not for her parents. This one was for the school board. I packaged it up, documents, photos, timestamps, email screenshots, and dropped it off in person. No return address. Just a manila envelope, left at the front desk, marked to be opened by administration only. That was Monday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, I got confirmation. Will, my HVAC buddy, called me. You started a war, he said, laughing. There's a meeting going on right now. Jay is in the principal's office. So is Lena. I didn't ask how he knew. I didn't care. Word travels fast in places like schools. At 6:14 p.m., Lena came home. She didn't say a word. Eyes red. Silent. Went straight to the bedroom. I gave it 15 minutes, then walked in. You had a meeting today. She didn't answer. They know, don't they? She nodded. What happens next? I asked. She whispered. They're investigating. They have to report it to the district. Because he was mentoring students. That stopped me cold. Wait. Students? She looked up, eyes wide, realizing what she just said. He never with them. Just, it's a policy thing. Conflict of interest. I didn't think they'd. You didn't think anyone would connect the dots? Silence. Lena, how many people knew? She didn't answer. But I already knew. More than she thought. Students gossip. Teachers whisper. Admins look the other way until someone forces their hand. That's what I did. She tried to defend him. He didn't mean for it to happen. I cut her off. Don't you dare. Her voice cracked. They're probably going to suspend him. I smiled. Good. Because guess what? I wasn't finished. Jonathan had dodged enough. But now? He was about to get a visit from someone he wouldn't expect. I waited until Friday. Jonathan lived in a cookie-cutter townhouse on the edge of town. I knew the address from a background report I pulled earlier. Public info. Thank you, Internet. 6:18 p.m. I parked across the street. Waited 5 minutes. Then walked up and knocked on his door. He opened it shirtless. Smelled like cologne and something burnt. Maybe takeout. He looked confused. Yeah. I smiled. You're Jonathan Miller. He nodded slowly. Who's asking? Lena's husband. Boom. His face drained like someone pulled the plug on his blood pressure. He stammered. Listen, man, I didn't. I held up my hand. Relax. I'm not here to fight. He didn't say anything. Just opened the door a bit more, still stunned. I just wanted to see the guy my wife risked everything for. Job. Marriage. Reputation. He swallowed hard. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I cut him off. And now it's over. You know that, right? He nodded slowly, still trying to read my tone. I've already sent everything to your school board. You're under investigation. They're not going to sweep this under the rug. His jaw clenched. They don't have evidence. Oh, they have plenty. Emails. Photos. Receipts. And if they need more, I'll give it to the press. This town loves a scandal. He went pale. Then I leaned in just a little. Here's the thing, Jonathan. I'm not here to fix anything. Or to threaten you. I just want you to feel exactly what I've felt the last 6 weeks. Powerless. Exposed. Cornered. He stepped back like I'd hit him. I smiled again. You thought you were untouchable because you were charming and wore tight shirts in a classroom full of kids. You're not. You're just a guy who made the worst mistake of his career. He didn't reply. I turned to leave. At the door, I paused. Oh, and one last thing. He looked up. She picked me to marry. She chose you to cheat with. Think about what that says. I walked away. He didn't follow. Didn't say a word. Just stood there, watching the door close behind me. The day after I visited Jonathan, Lena came home early. She looked rattled. I was already sitting at the dining table, envelope in front of me. I'd left it there on purpose. She walked in, saw it, and stopped. What's that? Everything, I said. All the copies. The emails. The pictures. The receipts. Every lie you told. It's in there. She stayed standing, arms crossed like she was bracing for a wave. I don't want to fight, she said quietly. Good, I replied. Because this isn't a fight. It's a final update. She sat down slowly. I know you went to HR and said it was a personal matter. I know you're trying to keep it contained. Her eyes flicked up. You've been watching everything? I nodded. Since the beginning. Silence. You think it's just about cheating? I continued. But it's not. It's about how well you lied. Every single day. Every story you invented. Every night you came home with his cologne on you and kissed me like I was an idiot. She flinched. I didn't mean to hurt you. I ignored it. I'm not here to hear that. I'm here to tell you what's happening next. I slid a stack of papers across the table. Legal-sized. Printed. Clean. What's this? Separation papers. Her face drained. Wait, you're serious? As a heart attack. She picked up the papers with shaking hands. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I cut her off. I don't want to fix it. You burned it. Her voice cracked. I told you I ended it. You told me a lot of things. None of them true. She started crying. Finally. Quiet, ugly sobbing. I waited. When she looked up, her mascara was running. What do I tell my parents? I shrugged. Whatever you want. But I already had dinner with them. They've seen the folder too. Her jaw dropped. I added, I mailed one to the district, too. And to HR. Just in case anyone gets the urge to move on quietly. You're trying to destroy me, she whispered. No. I said calmly. You destroyed yourself. I'm just clearing the wreckage. I stood up. You have 2 weeks to move out. She stared up at me, defeated, like someone realizing the game was already over and they never stood a chance. She opened her mouth to speak, but I stopped her. You said you needed to talk. Well, I just did. We're done. Then I walked out. Lena didn't say much after that night. She stayed quiet, like the kind of quiet that settles over a battlefield after the smoke clears and everyone's already dead. She moved through the house like a ghost, packing little by little. No more fake smiles. No more excuses. No more babe. Her phone barely lit up anymore. I assumed Jonathan had gone silent too, probably trying to save his job or whatever was left of it. The day after I gave her the separation papers, her school issued a notice. An internal personnel review is underway. No further comment. Code 4. Someone messed up bad. Will told me that Jonathan had been temporarily reassigned. Admin speak for being yanked out of the classroom and put somewhere they can watch him. He's not fired. Yet. But the investigation's real. The PDA knows. The teachers know. Even the students know something's up. One of them apparently posted a TikTok saying, Mr. J's not coming back, with a slow zoom of the empty science lab. Lena, for her part, still showed up to school. Barely. No makeup. No energy. Just dragging herself from class to class like she was counting down the days. The friends she used to gossip with? Gone. They didn't rally around her. They disappeared. She'd go silent when her phone rang. Or worse, stare at it and watch it stop ringing without moving. She finally said it one morning, while staring into her coffee like it might answer back. I lost everything, didn't I? I didn't respond. Just walked past her. That night, I got a text from her mom. I'm sorry. We didn't know. We don't blame you for any of this. It hit me harder than I expected. Not because I needed their approval. I didn't. But it meant they saw it now. Who their daughter really was behind closed doors. 1 week later, Lena packed the last of her boxes. I didn't help. She didn't ask. She stood at the front door with one final bag over her shoulder. I don't have anywhere to go, she said. That's not my problem anymore, I replied. She looked like she might say something. Maybe beg. Maybe apologize. But instead, she just turned and walked out. No hug. No goodbye. Just gone. And when the door shut, I stood there in the silence and felt something I hadn't in weeks. Peace. But I wasn't done yet. Because there was one last thing I needed to do. Something to make sure this never happens again. Not to me. Not to anyone else. 2 days after Lena left, I went through the folder one last time. I didn't need to, really. Everything was already in motion. The school had their investigation, the separation was filed, and Lena's entire double life had crumbled. But there was one piece missing. Consequences. Not just for her. For him. Jonathan Miller was still technically employed. Still drawing a paycheck. Still walking around. Maybe hoping it'd blow over. I wasn't going to let that happen. So I wrote a letter, not anonymous this time. It was short, direct, attached with the folder and every documented interaction between Lena and Mr. J, with context. Dates, times, messages, location logs, emails. And this time, I didn't send it to HR. I sent it to the superintendent, the school board, and, just for good measure, the local newspaper's anonymous tips inbox. I didn't add any dramatic accusations. Just facts. The evidence spoke for itself. Then I made a phone call to the ethics office at the state's Department of Education. Reported a concern about a teacher inappropriately involved with a colleague during school hours. Provided documentation. No yelling. No emotional rants. Just information. And one line to close every email and form. If this man continues to work around students without consequence, your office is now complicit. The next week, the local blog ran a story. Westview chemistry teacher under investigation for alleged improper conduct. Didn't mention Lena by name. Didn't have to. Everyone at that school knew exactly who he was. And now? So did everyone else in town. I didn't celebrate. Didn't post. Didn't say a word. I just watched the fallout quietly. Like he once watched my wife walk into his car, thinking no one would ever know. Let him sit with it now. Let him feel cornered, like I did. Let him apply for jobs with that stain on his name. Let him explain to his next employer why he had to resign in the middle of the semester. Because guys like him, they always think they're clever, charming, above consequences, until someone decides to play their game, and play it better. The house felt bigger without her stuff in it. No hair ties on the bathroom sink. No half-empty wine bottles in the kitchen. No piles of grating papers on the couch that were never actually touched. Just silence. And it was good. For the first few days, I thought it'd feel empty. I braced for some kind of breakdown, a delayed wave of grief or anger, or whatever people say you're supposed to feel when your marriage implodes. But it didn't come. Instead, the quiet became something else, clarity. I started waking up early again, went back to the gym, took control of my schedule, cleaned the garage, reorganized my finances, booked a weekend trip, solo. No checking in with anyone. No half-truths. No waiting up for someone who was never really where she said she'd be. It was like learning how to breathe again. One night, I sat down with a whiskey and scrolled through old photos. At first, I expected it to hurt. But mostly, it felt like I was looking at someone else's life. One photo stopped me. A selfie Lena had taken last year, kissing my cheek while I drove. I zoomed in. Her smile looked perfect. But now, I could see the distance in her eyes. Even then, she was gone long before I ever knew it. That realization didn't break me. It freed me. I had been loyal to someone who saw me as an option, who had everything and still went looking for something else. Someone who confused secrecy with excitement and lust with value. But the joke was on her. Because the one thing she never realized, the one thing he never understood, was that I wasn't weak. I was patient. I gave her the rope. She built the noose. I gave him the silence. He handed me the ammo. And when it was time, I lit the match and walked away without flinching. Now, I don't care what happens to either of them. Let them twist in rumors. Let the school forget their names. Let their sad little story fade into the background noise of some HR filing cabinet. I'm done. But before it ends completely, there's just one last thing I need to do. Something for me. A month after Lena left, the papers were finalized. No drawn-out legal fights. No drama. She didn't contest anything. I think she knew dragging it out would only make things worse for both of us. She moved in with a friend, last I heard. Or maybe a cousin. Doesn't matter. Jonathan resigned quietly for personal reasons. His LinkedIn's blank now. I didn't follow either of them online. Blocked. Deleted. Out of my world. The house is still the same, but different. I painted the living room, just because. Tossed out the mattress. Bought a new one. Threw out our old towels, the bed sheets, every little item that felt like ours. Reset everything back to mine. I stopped explaining myself to people, too. Coworkers who heard things and tried to bring it up, I shut it down. Friends who said, I always thought she was a little off. I nodded and changed the subject. This wasn't a group project. This was my story. I owned every piece of it. The blind trust, the slow suspicion, the ugly truth, and the quiet revenge. And now, finally, I've set it down. Not to forget it, but to close it. Tonight, I packed a weekend bag. Heading out of town. Nothing major, just a cabin in the woods. No Wi-Fi. No one to text. Just space. I left the lights off in the house when I locked the door. Quiet goodbye. On the porch, I paused for a second. Not to reflect. Not to grieve. Just to breathe in that cold, clean air. And then I smiled. Not a dramatic movie smile. Just a real one. Small. Honest. Because this isn't the end of a sad story. It's the beginning of a better one.